Hey, it's me, Bob Harris, Senior Editor, FootballDiehards.com. I got your Week 11 injury update, overview, review, preview, get up to speed view thing. Light injury day for the most part, most concentrated in the late afternoon kicks and Sunday night and Monday night, but I'll roll through them in chronological order as usual to help you understand what your options are. Start with the early games. The Cowboys, Des Bryant is questionable with a back issue. Expect him to play and maybe be relied on heavily. It's a tough run defense for Baltimore for Ezekiel Elliott to face. Tony Romo listed as questionable, expected to be the backup to Dak Prescott and expected to be that going forward. He conceded the job to Prescott basically in a press conference this week, in case you missed that. Crockett Gilmore on the other side of the ball has been ruled out with thigh injury. Second straight week he's missed. Not fantasy relevant. Dennis Pitta gets more. Theo Riddick, same deal for the previous two games before the bye. Coming off an ankle injury, he was limited each week, listed as questionable, played as usual. Same this week, limited all week, listed as questionable, expect him to play against the Jags. Brian Walters on the other side of the ball, listed as questionable with a concussion that sidelined him last week. Not really fantasy relevant at this point either. For the Buffalo Bills, playing at Cincinnati, Robert Woods listed as questionable. Played well, has been playing well the last couple games, especially in Seattle. Same injury, so expect him to do the same this week. Justin Hunter, maybe not so much. Turned up Friday with a groin injury. He's listed as questionable as well. For the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jeremy Maclin will miss another game. Missed last week as well. Suffered a groin injury in practice the week before. Was limited to 2 plays in that game. This will be his second straight miss. Guys like Chris Conley and Albert Wilson, my guy Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce will be asked to do more. Bucs defense kind of generous in that regard. Other side of the ball, expect Doug Martin to play more this week in his second week back from the hamstring injury. Jacquizz Rodgers will miss this game. Luke Stalker's been listed as questionable. He's playing well behind Cameron Brate, especially from a fantasy perspective. Russell Shepard could return. He's listed as questionable, but practiced fully all week. Has missed time with a hip injury. Eddie Royal and Marquise Wilson for the Chicago Bears at the New York Giants, both listed as questionable. Royal's been playing through his toe injury. There is no Alshon Jeffrey. He's been suspended. He'll miss 4 games. So Royal becomes of more interest along with Cameron Meredith. And maybe Wilson. We'll see what he does. This is his first week back off the pup, so they may ramp him up slowly, but he's got to keep an eye on as well. For the Pittsburgh Steelers at Cleveland, D'Angelo Williams will miss 2 more weeks after knee surgery at least. Darius Hayward-Bay with a foot, Marcus Wheaton with a shoulder, both ruled out. No timetables for their return. So Eli Rogers is a viable play going forward. Ladarius Green rises up the ranks a little bit, should get more playing time this week. And even guys like Jesse James and Kobe Hamilton are on the radar with that offense, especially in Cleveland. Looking at the late games, this is where it gets interesting, of course. Rob Gronkowski has been ruled out in San Francisco, didn't make the trip, has the lung injury, they say, perforated lung perhaps from a big hit against Seattle last week. So we have clarity, and same with Chris Hogan. He didn't make the trip, so there will be none of him either, back injury or a back issue. He's been ruled out. So Martellus Bennett, Julian Edelman listed as questionable. Expect them to continue playing through their ankle and foot injuries respectively, as they have all season long pretty much. Bennett could be a good play with no Gronk, right? And so could Danny Amendola, so could Edelman. I mean, guys are going to have to pick up the slack a little bit. LeGarrette Blount has a great matchup against San Francisco's run defense. It's not very good. Keep an eye on Dion Lewis. Could be active this week. Don't get too far in front of him. This is going to be a process for him, I think. Torrey Smith on the other side of the ball is listed as questionable. Same issue he's been dealing with in recent weeks. Quentin Patton's kind of surpassed him, and Jeremy Curley seem to be getting more attention from Colin Kaepernick, so keep that in mind to get along with his questionable designation in this one. For the Philadelphia Eagles, traveled to Seattle. Jordan Matthews listed as questionable with a back injury, practiced fully this week. I would expect him to play despite the questionable designation. Zach Ertz got a full practice in. He has a hamstring issue, also questionable. How he responds to the Friday's practice and the long flight to Seattle will determine whether he plays, so that sounds like a real game time decision. The Miami Dolphins are in Los Angeles to face the Rams, who will start Jared Goff, their first-round pick for the first time this season. They're hoping he can stretch the field a little more with a bigger arm and open things up for Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley's also questionable with a thigh injury. Expect him to play as usual. He played through this last week. Sounds like they're just preserving him, giving him some limited time to practice. The other side of the ball, Jarvis Landry and Kenny Stills, both listed as questionable, should play. The rushing game is of interest here. We have no Mike Pouncey, starting center, great player. Brandon Albert, the tackle. Also, not going to play. I just had wrist surgery, so it could be a little tougher sledding for Jay Ajayi. That's something to keep in mind. The Sunday night game, Green Bay is at Washington. For the Redskins, Deshaun Jackson listed as questionable. Reports on Saturday suggested he will play. He missed last week, same shoulder issue. He did get in some practice time this week, so he could return. They haven't really missed him, but should be back for this one. Don't bet on it, but watch for it. Jared Cook on the other side of the ball listed as questionable. He could return from the ankle injury he suffered in week 2. Practiced all week, listed as questionable, but maybe on the mend. James Starks expected to start. Kristen Michael, don't know if he'll be active in this one. Didn't arrive in Green Bay until Thursday after they claimed him off waivers, so don't get too far in front of him either. Randall Cobb and Ty Montgomery both off the injury report this week. Monday night's a big one, right? We've got the Raiders and Houston in Mexico City. Latavius Murray and Amari Cooper, knee and back respectively, have been limited this week. Both are expected to play. But you'll have to watch it, right? So have options standing by. Lamar Miller, we'll know what he is, but it sounds like he'll play. He said he would be good to go. Has been limited this week with an ankle injury. Alfred Blue will not play, so we might see more Akeem Hunt this week. We saw some signs in him last week. Jonathan Grimes also not going to play this week. Will Fuller, a true game time decision for this one. Jalen Strong will not play. That official injury report on that Monday night game will be out later Saturday. Check the website for that. Check the website for updates through Sunday morning. We'll have you covered completely. Check out all the latest columns and information. Got a lot of great stuff up there now. So head for footballdiehards.com. Oh, you're already there. Well, start reading and watching me at the same time. It's easy multitasking. Good luck this week.